Before we begin today, we're just going to take a little moment to do a joy check in.
Mm.
I want you, wherever you are, whether you're walking or listening with a cup of tea, maybe you're driving or on an errand, I invite you to pause just for a breath. Inhale slowly, exhale gently, and then do a little check in. Turn towards your heart, and on a scale from 1 to 10, consider how full does your heart feel. No judgment, just notice. Notice where there might be joy, where there might be pain. Notice that these things don't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes they're in whispers. And today, we're choosing to listen. Evelyn, do you mind doing a joy check in with us?
I don't mind. I would love to. I would love to. So, what's wonderful is that if you had asked me on Friday morning, and like
Mm-hmm.
you said, there's no judgment. So I shouldn't say what's wonderful because joy is joy. It doesn't matter. But Friday would have probably been a one or a two. I was really struggling Friday. I had a lot going on this weekend and I was very concerned about it. I had a meeting on Saturday that I was doing at a church event and I just felt overwhelmed. But what's amazing is that as a result of sitting in that space, trusting God, praying through it, I am a 10 this morning.
Oh,
I am a 10. And I think it's because I saw him work. Like I saw him get me through it. It was a phenomenal event. He did it all. He blessed. And so I am truly, I'm a 10. Like I'm overflowing. I am bubbling over.
wow. It
Bubbling
feels
over.
good to feel that warm bubbling, you know,
Yes.
the
Yes.
warm bubbling. I will say I am today is a good day. I feel maybe in the 7-8 range, and my joy feels really like subtle. Like it's
Mm.
like a radiating warmth, like a
Mm.
slow settle kind of warmth, and it's underpinning several things that I'm working on, but the joy is in the gratitude of being able to show up, you
Wow,
know?
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It's powerful. I love that. I
Oh,
feel that. I feel that with you.
yeah. It's just good to take these moments and check in with ourselves and with
It
our heart,
is. And
isn't
I
it?
love what you're doing because that's something that I can just kind of implement in my daily walk, my daily practice, just to
Yeah,
check in with myself. Like, what is my joy level right now?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
With no judgment. I love that part.
No judgment. No judgment.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Held with Joy. Held with Joy is a sacred and practical space where psychological well being, emotional health, and spiritual health meet. The space where we talk about gentle practices that help us live with intention, especially in challenging seasons. I'm your host, Kelly Holder, and my heart behind this podcast is simple to remind you that joy is always available, even when life feels heavy, and sometimes, especially when life feels heavy. Today, I'm honored to be joined by someone who helps to bring compassion, courage, and passion and joy everywhere she goes. You've got to believe this. Evelyn Fordham Goodman is a speaker, an educator, and a coach. She brings hopes to moms of children with disabilities through the Sunroom, which is a warm and welcoming sanctuary of support. Thank you, Evelyn, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
Yay! All right, we're
So
going to just
delighted.
jump in with our first question. When you look back over your journey as a mother, an educator, and an advocate, what moments feel most shaping in who you are today?
There are so many moments, and I feel like I don't know if I necessarily have a singular moment. I think they all accumulate to big moments and big life lessons, but I will choose one. I will
Okay.
choose one. And the one I will choose, I think, kind of brings all three. So, as a mother, educator, and advocate, I would say that probably the moment I would choose was this was shortly after my son was diagnosed. Well, I shouldn't say he was diagnosed yet, but this was after I started seeing that I felt like my son may have some differences.
Okay.
Cognitively, emotionally, I just felt like some things were not as they had been. And I was homeschooling my son. So I was with him all day, every day. And I hadn't noticed these things, but there were some things that were concerning me about him. And I was getting very nervous about it. So I did schedule an appointment with a neurologist. And I was very excited about the appointment. It was almost like I felt like this appointment was going to cure everything. Like this was going to
Mm-hmm.
be the appointment where I find out all the answers, where everything makes sense now. And I remember we got geared up for the appointment. We got to the appointment. I was very emotionally full because I was grieving. I didn't know what was happening with my child. And I remember the neurologist doing the exam with my son, pretty normal exam. What's the little thing where you see their nerves? Just a normal exam. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like, okay. But he did do what he did. And as he was doing it, Kelly, I literally was weeping. Like I was so emotional.
Oh,
I was
wow.
very, like, it was hard for me to hold it all in because I guess it was a culmination. I was coming in there and there were so many things in my mind and I was so glad to be there, but I was so hopeful of what he was going to say or not say. I just needed answers. And he looked at me and said, your son's going to be okay, but you have to get yourself together.
Wow.
And I was like, I feel like that was kind of a defining moment as a mom, as an educator, because I actually had worked with children with disabilities, but never having your own child is completely
That's
different.
something else. That's
Oh,
something
honey,
else.
like
I know.
completely. So, so as a mother, educator, and advocate, I think it was a defining moment, a reshaping, a reframing, because it said to me, in order to show up for others, I've got to find joy. Like I've got to.
Yeah.
This can't be the end of my life. And when he said that, it was just like, oh my goodness, like I've something's got to shift here in me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That that's a powerful experience when all those things like collide,
Yes.
right? Right? You hold all the knowledge you've held as an educator who's worked with children and families and parents with
Yes.
disabilities. You have advocated for those folks in the spaces where you work. And then now you're the mother. I mean, when they all come together, it can be quite an overwhelming experience. And then to have this sense like, okay, wait a minute. I know I'm here for my kid, but
Yes.
there's
Yes.
something that needs to happen for me.
Oh my goodness. Exactly. And I think that was never in my mind. Like in my mind is I go hard for my child. That's the advocate. The mother, I birthed this person. So, okay, my whole role in life is to fix this and make sure this is okay. As the educator, I feel like I know how to check the boxes and I think I know everything. And then when all that goes out the window and you're at square one, you're at base one, and you don't have answers, and somebody looks at you and says, in essence, you're the problem, in essence. You know what I mean? Not, I shouldn't say you're the problem, but you have a problem. And that problem is that you're losing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That problem is that whatever's going on. And it was interesting too, because he was saying, your child's going to be fine. I mean, the whole appointment was very interesting because I remember at the end, he was like, let's give him some chocolate. He's going to be fine. He's a happy child. He's going to be wonderful. Chocolate's good for the brain. I was just sitting here like, what? Like to me, this is a whole life altering experience. And he's like, he's so relaxed with my son. And I'm thinking, fix him, fix my son.
And the doctor looks at you and says, there's something you could use, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah.
this leads to our next question, right? Can you share how your vision for the sunroom was born and what happened in your life when that dream first took root of
Mm,
creating something like this?
right. I would say that his timing is so perfect. And I think I've had pieces of vision for many years about creating something that would be what I would have needed. I remember
Mm-hmm.
a friend telling me that oftentimes we create or we build things that are actually the answer to what we would have wanted when we were needed,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And so I think throughout my life, there were pieces and traces of things that perhaps pointed to, oh, it would be nice to have a warm, welcoming space. But in the heat of moments, sometimes that's not a reality or anything that you just kind of think about and you move on. But I would say that this season of my life right now is a very transitory season. I'm in a life change just with work and just a lot of life changes. And so I think it positioned me to think creatively. I think it positioned me to kind of let go of some of the status quo and some of the consistent things I had done over the years. And it opened me up for new things to explore, to be open to possibilities. I think that's just where my life is, period. So, with
Right.
that backdrop of where my life is, certain thoughts just start coming to mind. Couple the thoughts with other people coming to me, talking to me. And some of those people, their messages of needing support with something similar to the sunroom or needing to talk about their issues with their children with disabilities, those messages begin to get louder and louder. Like, and
Okay.
I've always talked to different people, but in this season, I don't know if it's that I heard it more or that it was
Mm.
happening more, but I was aware of it more. Either way
Yeah.
you look at it. And
Yeah.
the messages got so loud, I've started noticing people and what they were dealing with their children and how they could use support. So much so that there was one day where another person literally called me, texted me, and said they needed to talk about their child. And I'm like, Lord, if this person asked me anything about something remotely about a child with a disability, I believe you're telling me this is an area where you want me to serve. And when I had the phone call, sure enough, that person was asking me questions and I was just blown away. And in that moment, I sensed, okay, God really wants me to move in this direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something about seasons of our lives, you know?
Mhm.
And so while something might be on our mind, it might not be the season to act, but there's things
Mhm.
that we might have been given through that season that prepare us for the
Mhm.
next season where it's now our time to serve or support,
Right.
you
Wow, that is
know?
so true. Yeah, I love how you said that. I think that's so true. I think
Yeah.
that's, I think my mother says, or she read somewhere when the when the person is ready, like when the learner is ready, the teacher appears.
I
So
like that.
yeah, it's almost like, oh my goodness, okay, it's time.
It's time. It's time.
Mhm.
How has your understanding of joy changed since becoming a mother of a child with a disability?
I think I see joy as it's not really like a destination. I think it's more of a journey. It's like
Mm,
I'm not waiting for joy. I'm
yeah.
not trying to get through this dark tunnel so that I can finally get to joy. I think joy is intertwined, intermingled with real life pain and real life challenges. They live together. I think they coexist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, finding those spaces in the midst of challenges and pain and knowing that they are still there, I think that's what I'm learning. Like, it's not like, okay, when I get over this season, okay, I can finally breathe and have joy. It's like, no, I can find moments of joy in this season, in these
Yeah.
moments.
In these moments. In these moments. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's powerful. I mean, lots of times people think joy is the same as happiness. I know I have this pillow over here that says happy, even though I talk about joy. Because happiness is important. It's important, and
Mm,
yet happiness is not always present
mm,
the way that joy can be, because joy
mm,
is has this quality of hope and courage that moves past just I can be unhappy and still have
mm,
joy in
mm,
my heart, you
mm.
know?
Powerful. I think that is so, I think that is so true. Yeah, joy. Okay, remember when you asked me about the scale and you used a word. I don't know if it was there was a word you used. I don't know. Was it like there was something that you described joy for you? Like it was just kind of there, like simmering or
Yeah, I
just
can't remember what I said
it was
now.
like
Oh my goodness.
it
Like
started
it's
with the
under
S.
the surface, like holding me, like
Yeah,
I can't
yes.
remember.
I can't
Yeah.
either. I feel like it started with the ST, like ST. It wasn't a stabilizing. It was something like that. But it was like I feel like it was just like you were like if I were thinking cooking terms, when you said that, like in my mind was going to like a pot. It's not on
Like
hot.
simmering,
Yes, it's not boiling.
simmering.
Yes, but it's just there. It's there. It's
Yeah.
like simmering. It's like slow cooking. And I feel like that with joy. Like it can always be there. It can always be
Yeah.
present in the
Yeah.
moment. And that's a beautiful thing to learn, to experience, and to find those pieces. Like to, I don't know. I think that's why I'm just I'm learned my journey with my son, I think has taught me that.
Yeah. There's something powerful that happens when you care for someone who's going through challenges, and as a mom of a kid with a disability, I feel like I can hear what you're saying. I'm receiving it in light of my own lived experiences. So
Yes.
I don't know how others are receiving it, but
Mm-hmm.
and we all do that. We hear what people say and then we interpret it based on the experiences that we've had and the journeys
Mm-hmm.
that we've had in our own life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that same principle can go with anything that's a
Yeah.
challenge. I mean, a mother or whomever that's lost someone or that's had a job change, anything that changes from what you, I guess it's when you have an expectation, like when you're,
Mm-hmm.
and something changes that, or something goes outside of that, or doesn't meet that. That's when we have to reconcile and really work harder to find joy. But it's still there.
Still there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what would you say to someone who feels guilty for longing for joy while carrying so much responsibility? What might you say to them today?
Someone who feels guilty about, can you say it one more time?
Yeah,
Someone,
someone who feels guilty because they're longing for joy. They maybe they haven't figured out or
mm,
experienced what we're talking about today, that this coexistence of joy with
okay,
other things, but they're
okay,
longing for it and they have maybe some guilt because
okay,
maybe I'm not supposed to be focused on joy. I got these problems I'm supposed to be
okay.
focusing on. You know,
Yeah.
how would you encourage them?
I would say, and this is something that I'm building out in the Sunroom. As you stated, the Sunroom is a sanctuary of supports, warm and welcoming for mothers of children with disabilities. But one thing I want to teach in our Sunroom is to let the light in,
Mm,
to let
mm-hmm.
the light in. And I don't know everyone's faith tradition that's listening to this, but I would say for me that letting the light in really means connecting with my source. And
Okay,
for me,
yeah.
my source is Jesus Christ. So the guilt I think is normal, and I love what you said about the non-judgment. So I think we can bring ourselves, our full selves, wherever we
Yeah.
are. For me, in my context, is bring who you are in the sunroom. Like we're not trying to get you to change, just come in. But once the light comes in and you begin to soak in that sun, which is something we're kind of talking about, something supernatural happens. It's similar to a plant or anything that you put in the sun. It may be withered, it may be looking like it's about to die, it may be having all those things, but just the presence of being in the sun, maybe you come in tomorrow and things begin to shift and change. The sun is a warm, welcoming life source. And so I believe that person who's feeling that way, they've got to connect to something greater than themselves.
Okay.
They've got it. They can't, I don't think we can find it oftentimes within ourselves. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we try to manufacture that, but for me, my experience is that I need a greater source. And that source for me has been faith. It has been God, it has been Jesus Christ to actually to let the sun come in. I'm not trying to manufacture it, but I'm opening myself up to the sun and those principles and those rays. And before I know it, I'm being transformed.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
transformed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mm.
I know we've come to our time and we could probably talk much longer. Oh, I just want to thank you again for
Thank
coming, for sharing your
you.
wisdom and your experience. I'm certain that folks will walk away from listening to this podcast thinking about like how they consider joy and how do they let the light in and what is the light for them even to begin
Mhm.
with, because I think these
Mhm.
are major questions we all have to ask ourselves.
That's true. That is so
Yeah.
true. I'm so glad we had this time. Thank
Yeah,
you.
me too. So as we close today, I want to take a moment to reflect just a little bit. We've been reminded that there's power in honest stories. We've been reminded of what happens when we show up with courage and compassion. And we're reminded what happens when we let the light in. And through it all, we're also reminded that joy is always available in every season and in every experience. It doesn't always come easily and it doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes joy is quiet, sometimes it's in rest, sometimes it's in community, sometimes it's in acknowledging that we need help, but it is there. And if today you're listening and you're having trouble reaching it, if it feels far away or buried underneath everything you carry, please remember this: you are seen, you are valued, you matter, and you are held with joy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And until next time, take gentle care of yourself. All right? Bye. Hey, friends. Do you want a little bit more? Join us Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for some time to just renew and refresh your joy.